And like we promised you, we want to give our discussion we want to have our discussion now on the crisis in South Sudan. And today we're speaking to Rebecca Garang, who's a veteran politician in South Sudan. We thank you for joining us this evening. Would first like to understand your position on the situation that's been taking place in South Sudan. We know of the ceasefire, the failure to adhere to that, the blame game that is going on between the government and the rebel side. What is your position on the situation now in South Sudan?
It's really a horrific situation which is happening now in southern Sudan. Somebody like me is really greatly disappointed because when I look back when we were fighting or when we were in the struggle, we were struggling for the sake of our people, the very people that we are killing today. And the number of people who have been killed now are more than any other battle that the SPLA has conducted during the struggle. We have never seen something like that. Even President Salva Kiir is a witness to this. And somebody like me will be sick to see something like this going on. So it's a very bad situation. And many times I have appealed in the media for the international pressure and the regional pressure. The region is doing their part. It is us who has not been doing this part.
Okay.
Yeah.
There have been, accusations of atrocities being committed, of human rights violations being committed by both sides, both the rebels and the government, saying both sides are to blame and one cannot put the blame squarely on the other entirely. What are your thoughts on this?
Normally is the rebel which are supposed to commit atrocities, and the government is supposed to protect the civilians and the people. But in this case, you can see both sides are being accused of atrocities. On the other side of the rebels, it's not only the SPLA who's fighting on the side of Dr. Riek squarely doing fighting, but the White Army is there, and somebody is the army which cannot be controlled by anybody because these are civilian. They don't have any military doctrine on them. They're civilian, they have arms to protect their animals at home, but when the massacre took place in Juba, they pick up their arms and they took a revenge on this side. But if you ask me, I will say that the government is responsible for this because I don't see the quarrel. Because when we were in Juba, I was there. We asked for reconciliation. The president or our chairman did not respond to that. I myself, on the 22nd of December, I went to him and appealed, Mr. President, you release the political detainees. Let him join the peace talk in Addis.
Yes, and let's pick up off of that because that was one of the conditions of the ceasefire. You wanted 11 of those released. They only released 7, and today the government has announced that they're dropping charges against the remaining 4. They've sacked the army chief. Do you believe these are steps towards getting both sides back to the table and beginning the ceasefire talks once more?
I don't know where the president have gotten a pinch. Because one is contradicting the other. Because if you say that you are releasing the 4 to pave the way for reconciliation, and then again you are sacking the chief of the army and the chief of the military intelligence, you are contradicting what you are doing because what we want here is peace. If Mr. President was to do this long time ago, we would have not gone to this situation.
So for you, this is not enough?
No, I'm saying it's 1,000 miles. Start with one step. So Mr. President still have the balance of 99.98.
Okay.
For him to do something.
All right. In having this discussion, and many Kenyans have raised this and raised the question of your presence here in Kenya, saying perhaps you should be back home with your people, trying to seek solutions. But this is what many people are saying, that the leaders, as happens in many African situations, the leaders are not usually in their countries at the time of the atrocity. And many will say, you're safe here with your children, yet the ordinary South Sudanese are there struggling and suffering. Would you consider going back? And do you think that is a fair assessment of the situation, that you are here, you're safe, but the ordinary South Sudanese is not?
It is not. It is not in southern Sudan, in the case of South Sudan, and especially in a country where there is a dictatorship. People will not be safe. I will not be talking freely. When I was listening to the news, when I was sitting over there, I was watching former Foreign Minister Watangula talking freely, because this is a democratic country. But in Southern Sudan, if he speaks like this, he will be arrested, like what happened with our political detainees. Nobody is giving a chance to talk. But my being here, the voice of those of the voiceless is being heard while I'm sitting here. Some of my children are big and they are not here with me. I'm only here with one child. But also at the same time, I'm speaking for those people who are suffering in Southern Sudan. And I'm very aware of what is going on. And if I were in Southern Sudan, nobody will be hearing about the South. What is the problem?
Okay. Finally, when we had the ambassador here yesterday, he said this is not an ethnic war. This is all political. But there is evidence in Bentiu that this is taking a tribal leaning. Some would say that is not in dispute. It was the Dinkas and moderate Nuers who were targeted in that massacre that the UN officials are calling a game changer. Do you agree with the ambassador's statement that this is not ethnic?
Yeah, I would agree with him, because it is not an ethnicity. It has taken a tribal line because of revenge after revenge. Because, this situation was triggered because of the problem in Juba. The massacre which took place in Juba brought all this problem.
But people are being targeted ethnically.
It is revenge. It is revenge. It's revenge when somebody who's your relative has been killed and you have gun in your hand. You just choose anybody and say that I want to kill this so-and-so because my so-and-so has been killed. It is a revenge which we need to, as a leader or the president, to prevent not to take place. And we have seen this in Rwanda, in our very eyes, that it happened in Rwanda, and we have seen now what the leadership has done. And I wanted to tell you squarely that what we need in Southern Sudan today is leadership. Southern Sudan lacks leadership, because a leader is somebody who's not rigid, somebody who can listen to the voice of the people, somebody who can take decision during tough time.
Right. And you don't believe that person is President Salva Kiir?
I don't believe that because of the people who have died.
Okay, all right. We leave it at that tonight. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we do indeed continue to pray for South Sudan and the people there that a quick resolution will be found. And of course, we have been speaking to Rebecca Garang, who's a veteran politician in South Sudan.